child who's fairly picky about what they will and won't eat is common, especially amongst younger children who are just discovering new foods. And some are more picky than others. It can be really frustrating for parents and also cause a lot of anxiety as well if they're concerned that there's something more serious going on. So I'm joined now by Niamh Hennessey, who's lead dietitian at the Cromwell Hospital, to delve a bit deeper into this topic of picky eating. So Niamh, first of all, where does picky eating come from?
Children's senses are different to that of adults. So food will look, smell and taste very different to them. And this can make it either less appetizing or more appetizing for the child.
Right.
Also, it's a protective mechanism. So in ancient times, being picky about what you ate was important so that you didn't eat something that was harmful or poisonous to you. Obviously, in modern society, this is a lot less of an issue. But yes, children will still be picky about what they will and won't eat as they're learning food is safe. But equally, it's important to realise that picky eating is normal among children and it's nothing we should be worried or concerned about.
I think that's so reassuring, and actually to know that, you know, once upon a time it was a protective thing and that it's normal is reassuring. But when does it become not normal and when should we be concerned?
So I think it's important to have a look at what's normal to begin with. So if your child is eating a wide variety of foods, they're growing normally and they're looking well in themselves, then you can be assured they're eating enough. But if you have a child who's also eating from all the different food groups and they're having a protein source, they're having some dairy, they're having their fruit and vegetables, or they're having their carbohydrates, then that is reassuring that they're getting enough. Where you do start to get worried about is if your child isn't growing as you would expect, if they're falling off their centiles, or if they're agitated, unhappy, or very lethargic, we would expect you to bring them to see their GP. There's other things that we would keep an eye on. If your child had a fever, we would obviously expect you to go and see your GP straight away. Yeah. We're looking at keeping behaviours and emotions. So if their behaviour has changed in any way, that can also be linked with fussy eating or picky eating. The child's mouth is another area to be careful about. Making sure you're supporting with brushing teeth in the morning and in the evenings. Or if they're complaining of a sore tummy, we would encourage you to go and see your GP.
Okay, really helpful. A question I often get asked is there any link between picky eating in childhood and developing eating disorders later on?
You'll be glad to know, and parents will be reassured, there isn't a link between being a picky eater in childhood and what you eat later in life.
Okay, oh, that's good to know. So not just eating disorders, but actually whether or not you're fussy later in life. Okay, that's good to know. What top tips do you have to give to parents to help them encourage their little ones to eat a wide variety of foods?
So there's lots you can do. Offer a variety of foods, but do it repeatedly, not just once off. It can take children up to 10 or 14 times to decide whether they like a food or not. Right. I would also encourage children to get involved in the cooking. So where appropriate, get them helping with prepping the food. Also give them choice. So if you're going to have, say, carrots or peppers or peas in a food, get them say, what would you like tonight? Or if you want them to choose between rice or pasta, or if you're making spaghetti bolognese or pasta bake, these are all things you can give them some power or choice over what they're having to eat.
Okay.
Also, try and eat as a family if you can. That's a really good tip. And just by adding less salt or less sugar to foods, the foods should be suitable for most children.
Okay, and that exposure you spoke about, so 10 to 14 times, do they need to eat it or is that just putting it on their plate?
No, it could be just getting them to handle the fruit or vegetable or food, getting them to touch it, even taste it, but don't force them to eat it. I think that's really important there.
Okay, and what are the dangers if you get really upset as a parent?
It's really important that you try and stay as relaxed as possible. I know that's easier said than done, but your emotions can transfer to the child. So it's really important that they know they can eat it if they want to. If they don't, they're not going to be in trouble, and it's getting that emotion away from eating.
Yeah, and it makes sense actually, because if you're very cross at a child because they didn't eat their broccoli, the next time broccoli is served, you can imagine they might even be more adverse to it. Well, thank you so much. I think there's some incredibly helpful tips there, and I certainly found that very, very reassuring.